So how exactly does Big Brother run your information? Hey guys, what's going on and good morning. Well, by the time I get this out, it'll probably be afternoon. A question that a lot of people ask me is, how does the computer inside of your patrol car work? Let's say I make a traffic stop, I get the person's license. How is all that ran through a system? There's actually two ways to run people and cars. One of those would be just calling into dispatch and letting them do it. And another one would be using your what's called MDT, or mobile data terminal. Fancy word for your in-car laptop. There's a few things to know about these laptops that are in police cars. Number one, they're usually locked in place. Most in-car laptop mounts actually resize according to the size of the laptop. The officer has a key and he can resize it to whatever he wants and then lock it into place and take the key with him. Another thing about most in-car laptops is most of them run a Windows-based system, and it's nothing fancy, it's nothing specifically for cops, it's usually just Windows. Now obviously, in the unlikely event that somebody breaks into a car and is able to take the laptop, we don't want them to have access to everything that's on our desktop. So most logins either require the officer's specific fingerprint or they have a very unique username and password login. Once the officer is finally logged in and on the desktop, we then connect to what's called a Verizon Jetpack. A Verizon Jetpack is a device that grabs the 4G wireless signal and turns it into internet for the laptop. Then once you are connected to the internet, you use a VPN or virtual private network and communicate with their network at the station. If you guys are totally lost right now, don't worry about it. Your FTO will show you how to do that. It's easy to do. It's only about 4 or 5 clicks and you're all ready to go. Most people do this before they even leave the station. Once you are connected to your VPN, you can then connect to your police specific software. Different departments use different kinds of software. There's hundreds of types of mobile reporting software out there. But the one that my department uses, and I've found a lot of departments use, is called Spillman. And just to put this out there, I'm going to use the word Spillman a lot today. I'm not sponsored by them. I'm not getting paid by them. That's just a system that I'm familiar with. So I'm going to be using Spillman as an example. About 3 years ago, our local county, so the county police, the city police, the sheriff's office, everybody switched over from an old system that was created in it was like 97 when it was created. It was some Canadian company. The program was horrible. It was very easy to use. Don't get me wrong, it was very easy to use, but its options were very, very limited. So about 3 years ago, they finally upgraded everything countywide to Spillman. And a lot of officers started complaining because Spillman is a very complicated program. We had to go through like a week of training just to learn how to use the basics. And there's so much stuff that Spillman can do. It's really cool. I like it. It is very advanced software, but it works perfectly for what we need. So there are different types of databases that we can search depending on our needs. Let's say I make a traffic stop, I get the guy's license. I am going to run him, since I'm in Georgia, I'm going to run him through what's called GCIC, NCIC. And this is kind of a national system, so this checks nationwide to see if this person has warrants, if their license is valid, whether their registration on their vehicle is valid, whether the vehicle is stolen. There's a whole bunch of different categories that are placed into NCIC that we can check and see to validate everything with their car, and everything with them is good to go. Then we have kind of an in-house database, and this basically means anybody that has been to this particular county since, I think they keep records from like 1994 and on, or it might be after, I don't know. It's been a long time that they've been keeping records of people. So any police encounter that anybody's had in this county since 1994, their name and any information that officer put in is going to be in the local system only. Now, if you were to go a few counties over, they're not going to have access to those type of records. They have their own little local database. But NCIC is a national thing that we all have access to. NCIC is a great tool, but there have been officers that have gotten in a lot of trouble for using it for purposes than what it was meant to be used for. I'll just say that. There have been officers that have been caught using NCIC to check up on girlfriends. Big no-no.
He's accused of using the state police motor vehicle database to track down a woman.
Tracked her down illegally. Jeffrey Tyler is facing possible prison time. Misused a National Crime Information Center motor vehicle database.
The use of this database is very specifically and very clearly restricted to criminal investigations. You pull somebody over and you want to see if they have a warrant on them.
Things like that can get you 10 years in prison and or a $10,000 fine. Even if there was no punishment, the morality standpoint, not good. Not good to be using that for personal use. Now, most of the time, if I'm encountering somebody, I'm on a call, let's say a domestic or whatever, it's usually a good idea to go ahead and run everybody through the national database just to make sure nobody has warrants that are out of state. Because a lot of times if you check the local system, it's not going to show that. It's just going to show if they have in-house warrants through maybe the sheriff's office or the PD or maybe the city PD, somebody local that has warrants out for them. But let's say you have a murder charge in New York. If I just check the local system and I don't bother to check the national, then it's not going to show up in our system. So as I'm sure you can imagine, having every police encounter since 1994 is a huge database. It's not as big as the national one, obviously, but it's still a very big database. The cool thing about Spillman is it's created for not just police officers, but it's also created for dispatch. It's created for firefighters. It's all these public safety entities that are all in one system. We are able to, we can send, like I can send an instant message. You can even put little emojis in there, but I can send instant messages to like dispatchers, and it's all internal. So you know, if we don't want to broadcast something over the radio, we can send out like a mass private message to certain officers or to certain dispatchers or whoever. I'm not sure what the firefighters use Spillman for. But the cool thing about Spillman is not only can you run driver's license and tags and stuff like that through it, but it's also what we use as a reporting system. So if I go to a call, let's say a domestic, and I have to do a report at the end of it, you can actually do your report in Spillman and send it to your supervisor, who then reviews it, and they can either reject it back to you with corrections that need to be made, whether it be grammatical or things that you're missing, or they can approve it, and it's available now for open record. Another feature that can be turned on is real-time GPS. So you can actually pull up a map of your jurisdiction, and it will pinpoint where all the calls are at that point in time, and it will show you where all the patrol units are at. Now, we actually have an entire separate program called Gears that we use for motor vehicle collisions. So if you get into an accident and the officer takes both parties' license and insurance cards and registration and stuff like that, and they go back to their car, what they're doing is they're entering in both vehicles' information, both people's information, any occupants in the car, and that's usually the most tedious part. Once you're done with that, you have to type a short little narrative on what happened, and then at the end, it's really cool. There's actually a third-party program that's added on into Gears called Easy Street Draw. And Easy Street Draw allows you to draw out a diagram of the intersection where the crash happened at, and you have to place both vehicles there in the exact spot that they were on final. It's called final rest. So once the accident happened, the vehicles come to a stop. That's called final rest. And that's kind of where your diagram, what your diagram is going to show. Now, for the officers that want to go way above and beyond and they want to go to accident reconstruction school, I have no interest in learning accident reconstruction. There's 5 separate courses on it in Georgia. No thanks. I'm good. So that is it for today, guys. That is the basic concept of how police computers, or MDTs, in the cars work. I would love to sit down and show you guys my desktop. I use a Microsoft Surface Pro. Patrol units do not use those. That's for CID. But as much as I would love to show you, I'm pretty sure my department would have a problem with me showing how the internal workings of our computers work. So I just have to describe it for you guys. But anyway, if you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments section below. I'd love to answer them. I will be online and available tonight. So join us on Discord. If you're not on Discord already, join us tonight. I'll be on there chatting with you guys, and I might even hop in voice chat with you. But either way, guys, thank you for watching. I appreciate the support, and I will see you guys very soon.